Welcome to my favorite nonprofit radio segment called Nonprofits Care. Their causes are really extraordinary.
My favorite nonprofit, where causes are really extraordinary. Together we can make a difference. You and my favorite nonprofit, nonprofits who care.
Find out how you can make a difference at myfavouritenonprofit.com, where causes are really extraordinary.
You and my favorite nonprofit, nonprofits who care, who care.
Good morning and welcome to our show, Nonprofits Who Care. And CARE stands for Causes Are Really Extraordinary. I'm Ralph Grills and I'm the founder of My Favorite Nonprofit, and I'm the host of the show. I'm here with my co-host, Elena Nee. Hi, Elena.
Good morning.
Elena's a little under the weather this morning, but she still made it, so thank you, Elena.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you. And we also have a very special guest this morning, Dr. Lady Asa Crenshaw, and she's an ND. What does the ND stand for?
Naturopathic medicine.
Oh, so you're naturopath, so you do holistic health.
Yeah.
Very good. And you are the founder and executive artist director of Visions Performing Arts Company.
Yes.
Can you tell me how you got involved with that and how that thing got started?
Well, I was kind of blessed when I got to Denver. I got to be under the wing of Mayor Hancock when he was at the Urban League.
Oh, really?
And basically, I wrote the grants for, I was a young high school graduate, I graduated early, and I wrote the grants that nobody wanted to deal with.
Uh-huh.
But it taught me how to deal with grants. And I started a dance company after that. And Visions came about from me evolving from dance into getting into theater, period. And our mission statement is to preserve African American performing arts. So what we do is that, and it started with dance and then evolved into theater, and it evolved into spoken word, and then Visions came as a homage to my mentor, Jeffrey Nicholson. So.
Oh, okay. And for our listening audience, explain who Jeffrey Nicholson is.
Jeffrey Nicholson was an extraordinary Denver beacon in theater, period, and definitely stood for Black theater. He was the only Black theater in this region, with his company called Shadow Theater Company, and unfortunately we lost him just over 3 years ago. And in the process of him making a lot of transitions in his own career, he was training me to be his heir to take over his company. And
so you were kind of his apprentice.
Yeah. And so
excellent.
he taught me everything he knew, and I was his confidant. I was writing his life story to produce it, and then unfortunately we lost him in a very untimely fashion, and it just kind of devastated the whole community. It devastated, everyone. So for me, I started the company because that was a part of this new phase of his career, so that he could move on, so I could take over his prior company. And so I just kind of kept it going, and everything that I do, I give him so much appreciation and admiration. He was definitely a living hero for me. So.
Oh, that's great. So is there a particular theater you guys perform at, or?
We've performed everywhere.
So you travel around?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We've traveled to Atlanta, we've gone to D.C., we've gone to New York. We've done a lot of stuff, and we're excited because this year we're just focused on, we've been very, very fortunate that the community has kept us alive, like ticket sales and workshops and all of that stuff, but now we're ready to expand our audience here in Denver, and get the same type of popularity that we got. You leave your own city and you go somewhere and it's like, oh, you're the best thing ever. So we want to kind of make that here and get back to our roots of Denver and get everybody involved and happy to see us home, because we want to build our own theater. So that's
great.
goal.
That's a great goal.
Yeah.
What is the age range of your performers?
I have them as young as 2 to 50. So
2 to 50?
Yes.
Wow.
So it's
a big range.
Yes,
Yeah.
From training to, these are actually our ensemble members, so all of that. So it's huge. It's a huge gap.
Oh, that is a big gap. And what kind of performances do you guys do? Is it kind of like African culture?
You can say that. There's a lot of comedy too. There's a lot of American, you know, it's
So it's a
everything.
mixed culture.
It's a mixed culture. We
Kind of
definitely
like America.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we're dedicated to preserving African American arts because it's dying. It's a dying genre.
Uh-huh.
There's not a lot of black theater anymore. There's not a
Mhm.
lot of black dance companies anymore. And we are hoping to kind of mirror Cleo Parker Robinson being the black dance company of Colorado. We want to be the black performing arts company of Colorado. And yes, we're preserving African American arts, but that doesn't mean that everyone isn't invited
In African
and
dress,
everybody wants to be we want everyone involved because the African American story is American, and that's something that we should be proud of.
Right.
And we just want to stand for it. But we're like I said, we've been lucky. We go everywhere from Highlands Ranch to 5 Points, and we're there, and we get such a good response from because you want to know all the stories of America. I think we are a melting pot, and that's what America is. And if we all can be proud of our own history and our own culture, that's where we begin to have diversity and cultural understanding. Because I believe, and we believe that art is the beginning to bridge those gaps. So.
Oh yeah, because I was just at a luncheon, which Elena was at as well. There's an organization called Project Care, and they do a First Ladies Luncheon every year as their big event, and they had over 2,000 people in attendance.
Wow.
And they had the First Lady of Mozambique as their guest of honor. And they had the traditional African dress there. It really looked neat, so we really got to feel their culture there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool that you guys are still preserving that
Yes.
and bringing that to people that really want to know about it.
Yes, including the African community, because being African American, there's a disconnect with the African community and the African American community, just because of the history of America. And I think it's vital that we begin to bridge all of those gaps because our story is real, our story and our ancestors were a part of building this country, and the art was a part of building this country. You know, from the hop to all the different types of dance that was infused to jazz to all of these things that we should be celebrating as American culture.
Right. Because last week we had a lady that actually was with the daughter of the American Revolution.
Wow.
And if your forefathers fought in the American Revolution, you can be part of this organization,
Wow.
which they do the research and then they do performances about the American Revolution.
Wow.
I'm sure there's a lot of black people in that history
Absolutely.
that could be a part of that.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of a neat thing too.
Yeah, that's great. That's I kind of have a affinity for war and you know what the role of black soldiers and all of that. So that's I want that information. I would love to get into that.
Yeah, you should go to the website and check it out.
I will.
Very good. Yeah, very cool. So that's one of the things that we do on our show here is that we kind of, like to introduce different nonprofits to the other nonprofits because we believe collaboration is the way that things are going to go in the future. For nonprofits to survive, number one, they have to have exposure, and that's why we're doing this radio show. But also, they need to really, I think, pool resources and also, just visions. People that have visions that come together, they can come and serve people better than try to do themselves.
Right. So, and I commend you for this show. I did the research and did everything on the site and stuff, and it's incredible what you guys are doing because, little grassroots organizations like myself where I'm doing everything, like I'm making sure the board is okay, I'm making money is okay, I'm making sure that the audience is fed, I'm making sure everything is going right. We appreciate these type of platforms because we don't get to stop and breathe and say, okay, how do we effectively market? You know what I mean? So I commend you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Do you have volunteers to help you? Do you take volunteers?
Yes, absolutely. We work a lot with the students, the interns that are majoring in theater or dance or whatever for actual production. But then we have a slew of people who just help make the show run or make the, whether it's at the door or whether it's just making sure we have water when we're on the side. But we have a great pool of volunteers. But we were looking to make it bigger because our goal, we're going black so that we can focus on fundraising and raising money because we've done all the small theaters. So the next goal is to do something at PCPA and really get a full-fledged show in the performing arts building downtown.
Oh, that'd be neat.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
Where's your location right now? Where's your headquarters?
We don't actually have a building.
So you're virtual.
We like, we're like, whose house are we rehearsing at tonight, you know?
Wherever you can.
But we are in so many schools, in so many rec centers that we can use, they're generous to us and say, oh, you guys can practice here, or you can do whatever. But it's time for us to have our own. We've been in existence for about 3 years, so we're just ready to say, okay, we found some land, and this is where we want to build up. So that's our biggest goal is our fundraiser right now, called 12 Bricks. So that's what we want to do.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So with 12 Bricks, how are you promoting this fundraiser?
So an organization, a business, or an individual can buy a brick for our building at $12, which is $1 a month for the year. And we want to get 100,000 bricks sold, and that'll give us $1.2 million, and that's our biggest fundraiser right now. 100 bricks is, no one says no, you know what I mean? Nobody says, oh, okay, I'll give you $12, and you get your name on a brick. You get to say that you were an initial an initial donor that founds our building, and that's what we want to do. So we're trying to get 100,000 bricks donated for just $12, and you can get as many as you want.
So you already found land? Do you actually own land now, or are you going to purchase land?
No, we found where we're interested in. There's about 4 different land areas that we're looking at. But the next thing is we want to meet with an architect so that we can start to draw out exactly what it is we want. Because we want dance studios in there, classrooms in there, the actual theater, and then a place where a ballroom where people can rent out, or we can hold different type of events as well. So it's $1.2 million. We know we can do it, so we're giving ourselves all of 2013 to get 100,000 bricks sold. So.
Oh, very good. Have you got any bricks sold yet?
Absolutely. We're about at right under 300.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
So, you know, things like this, hopefully somebody will say, oh, 300, we're going to double that. And we're going to come in and help you get more bricks. So, because like I said, it's only $12, and it's pretty simple math. You know, it's just pretty simple. Just buy a brick, put your name on it, and you get to say you did it. So.
Right. As they say, the first brick is the toughest.
Yes.
So you're past that point.
Yes.
And you're at 300, so that's great. Yeah. And I see on your website, which is visionpack.org, you can get on there and people can actually find out about the brick program.
Yes.
As well as about your organization.
Yes.
So they can get more information there. And if they want to donate, is there a donate button on your site?
Yes, and you can donate as whatever you like. I think that's what it's called. Whatever you want to give, just give. You know.
Whatever you want to give.
Whatever you want to give. And we've had, you know, little girls get their quarters that they got, and we honor that. You know, we send them a thank you letter. Thank you for your quarter to the 3rd graders who did it. We did a performance on the history of African American dance, and the whole class gave us a quarter. Each little child gave us a quarter. And
really?
So we sent them a thank you as we would any other donor. That quarter means something to us. So yeah, we really it was. I know that's exactly what we did. We were like, did you really give us $3.50?
That's funny. So you go to a lot of elementary schools and around and perform for the schools? Oh, that's great.
I was in, I'm now in DPS, APS, I got Douglas County schools and rec centers all over. So we do Montbello Rec in a few different studios as well. So we're moving, but it's just, when it's kind of a one-woman show, it's like, all right, I need some help, guys. So we're restructuring our board right now. We had a great board for 3 years, but we're ready to, like I said, expand and get that grant money and get the exposure outside of where we've been so far. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, with your experience in grant writing, were you able to get a grant so far? Or?
I got some grants from Daniel's Fund and Olympia's Fund initially. But then taking on the task of running the company, I didn't have my mentor anymore. So it was like, now I'm doing everything by myself. I had a new board. They didn't know what it meant to be on the board. But they were great. They were awesome. They were incredible. They learned. But now it's like, okay, I need seasoned board members, and I need to be able to have an ED with me. I need to have a choreographer. I need to have all of these different positions filled. Because I did, after those 2 we got $10,000. So after we got those 2 grants, it was like, just the maintaining of the grant. I was like, I can't even keep. I had to still make sure productions were happening. I still had to, tutor girls and teach little boys how to dance. I mean, it just was so much. So I need someone who can just focus on the grants and let me be creative.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because we had an organization on that's called ECTA, and what they do is they allow people like yourself that have a passion to do their cause, but they do it under the umbrella of ECTA. Mm-hmm. And ECTA raises all the funds for the administration, so 100% of the funds that the individual raises goes to their cause.
Oh, wow.
And they do all the paperwork and stuff, so you can just do what your passion is.
Yeah,
so,
I need that.
yeah, so I was going to say, I don't know, right now you're already filed as 501c3, so you probably would want to stay like that, but that's great for people that are interested in doing something, to have that ability, because a lot of people want to go out and do something, but they don't want to do all the paperwork, because you know now what all that entails. It sounds like, yeah. Well, we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, lady, we're going to talk more about your organization and some of the things you're doing out there. This is Ralph Grills with My Favorite Nonprofit with Helena and me, and we'll see you after the break.
Welcome to my favorite nonprofit radio segment called Nonprofits Care. Their causes are really extraordinary.
Welcome back. We're back for our second segment of Nonprofits Who Care. Causes are really extraordinary. I'm Ralph Grills, the founder of My Favorite Nonprofit and the host of the show. I'm here with my co-host, Helena Nee. Hi, Helena.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we have Lady with us on our second segment. We were just talking to her. And Lady, okay, you were talking about doing these performances.
Yes.
There's a guy that we had on our show named Pat Murphy, and he was with Up With People that does performances around the world. And at the time he was there, he was running 5 groups out there, which were cast of like 110 people each. So about 600 students were traveling throughout the world that he was in charge of for the show production.
Wow.
That'd be a good guy for you to talk
Yeah,
to.
I think we should connect.
Yeah.
They should be connected.
Absolutely.
And you know the jingle that My Favorite Nonprofit? Pat is the one that put that together for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's into music, he has his own CDs out, he plays with a band currently called Nacho Men. I don't know if you heard of them, but they do a lot of performances for a lot of charitable events I've been at, they performed at. So they're a great organization. So I would definitely hook you two up, because I think you guys would have a great, at least a synergy there of things in common to talk about, about what you're doing there.
And I love Up With People. I love them. Like, when they, that was one of the things that drew me back to Colorado, actually.
Really?
Up With People. And then when they went black, I was like, what? Like, do you know I left college? And I do it. And so, yeah, to hear that they're back and going, that's great news. Because the last I heard, they weren't there. And they were really gracious too. When I kind of bombarded them one time, and I just went up there and just was like, hey, I have a passion for performing, and I just got to college, and they let me like record some stuff in their studios.
Oh, really?
Like, they showed me around, and they were like, we're about to close though, and they were like, where were you before? And I guess just we lost touch, but yeah, I would definitely like to get involved with whatever he has going on, because that was kind of a goal of mine most of the time.
Yeah, yeah, because he still is involved with Up to People. He doesn't no longer work for them, but I'll tell you what, we hosted a gala last May at the Marriott City Center downtown, and we benefited Up With People because Up With People, as people know, they're based here in Colorado. Okay, and like you said, in early 2000, they kind of closed their doors because they had 5 casts going out, and the board, I guess, got worried about what was happening with all expenses and stuff, so they closed to regroup. But then in 2006, they reopened, and most recently, 3 years ago, Alan Terry, who's an alumni of Up With People, he was a successful businessman. He came back and he's running Up With People now.
Oh, wow.
And he's got them back in the black.
Oh, wow.
And he is awesome. His passion is unbelievable, because when he was with Up With People, he actually performed in one of the Super Bowl halftime performances.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so they did 4 of those, and he did one of them, and so he just feels that Up With People like yourself gave him his inspiration in life.
Absolutely.
And so now he's giving back to them.
Absolutely.
And so when I met Alan, I said, this is the organization I want to help out, because being in Denver, people really don't know that.
Yes.
I want to reconnect Up With People back to Denver. So we held this gala at the Marriott City Center. Actually, that's where I met Helena at the event. And what they did is, because their cast was in performance in Europe, they flew back part of their cast to Denver and took some of their alumni that were here locally and combined them and did the performance for the gala. Yeah, and they actually premiered songs that they never played before. They're now doing on tour right now with at the gala. So yeah.
Yes, I would love to. I used to just have dreams of choreographing for them and help it. Like I just wanted to. That was a source of inspiration for me getting out of. I even graduated high school early with dreams of getting to other people. And
wow,
so
isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So as soon as I got back from college, they were like, we're going back. I was like, no. And then, but everything happens the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Because now I'm doing it, but I could definitely say, being a little girl, like that was the thing I wanted to do, was to travel with them and be doing the performances. So.
Well, they're definitely back now, and they're definitely doing the performances throughout the world. And they actually are going to be going to Cuba in the future.
Oh, wonderful.
And they're going to be performing in Cuba. How would you like that?
Oh, I'm Cuban. Yeah. I would really like
Really?
Yes.
Because most Americans can't go to Cuba,
right,
and they're going to travel to Cuba.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. I can tell my students that there are options after, that they can go with still.
Well, that's true. You could be actually a place where people can use that as a stepping stone to get with other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because most recently, last summer, they performed in Brazil. The UN had their summit there for world sustainability, and they were actually, the students were performing at the UN. But not only that, they got to meet the UN members, and they were actually questioned about what were the concerns of their countries.
Wow.
Because the students are like from 20 to,
Right.
maybe even more countries, and they have like 110 students in the cast.
And that's what, I mean, essentially, I don't want to say that I copycatted that, but that method of wherever you're from, be proud of where you're from.
Because
whatever your history is, be proud of your history, but come together on the stage of life. And essentially, I think that was rooted in me through other people, because I saw so many different cultures and coming from a military background. I'm a military brat. That's all I knew. All I knew was, okay, I have a Polynesian friend, I have a white friend, I have a black friend, I have an African friend, I have a Caribbean friend, and we all still love to dance. Like, it didn't matter, and so that's
right. Then all those barriers went away
right. So
once on the stage.
When we saw, I think first time I saw with people was in Hawaii, and I was just like, Mommy, I'm doing that. Like, that's it, because I could see the reflection of my life as a middle schooler. I saw my friend Joyce, I saw my friend over, and we all was like, oh, we can perform together, like we can dance, we can sing together. And that's essentially why Even Visions is there, because I said, I know it can exist, that I can be proud of my history without being in a box of being segregated. I know that I can be an artist and be proud to be an African American artist, a Cuban artist, and still be able to stand strong with any other culture of art, because art, in my opinion, bridges that gap for everybody.
Art and music.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's like the glue to the world.
It is.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And you're right, that's what Up With People does.
Absolutely.
You have all these countries coming together that they're students from, and they're on stage, but if you look at them perform, like the one I saw in Fort Collins, they look like professional performers.
Yes.
And this is the first performance they've done together.
Yes.
On a live stage.
Yes.
And they look just like, it's unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah, so Up With People definitely does a good thing out there.
Yes.
And the nice thing about it is every place they go to perform, they also do community service
Right.
in those areas. And they don't just go and do community service, they actually find nonprofits, then find out what their needs are, and then donate their time to help those needs.
That's, and I must say, it must be a copycat, because when we go to Atlanta, we do the same things. Like whatever the cast that I take out there, we're volunteering in the community, we're feeding the homeless, we're doing all types of stuff. And when we go to Harlem, same thing. We're cleaning up New York when we go. I mean, we just, and I don't know if it's just the principle. I study other people for so many years that I don't know if just the principles I subconsciously kind of did the same.
Probably are, because it's such a great thing they're doing. You're probably like, oh, this is great.
So just you saying that, like, oh, I make my ensemble members do that too. Like, maybe that's just but that's a good thing. That's good energy being thrown out there, and I'm glad to say, I saw them in Hawaii, and I was just like, whoa, I have to do that. And then
doesn't that performance just blow you away what they do?
Yeah, and I'm happy to say, that even with their influence, and I didn't actually get to get involved, they influenced me enough to still stick with theater, still stick with dance, and still know I can be an adult and still have fun. I can get up and go to work and be like, oh, my work is I get to go in the mirror and choreograph, and that's, I have to say, organizations like that, Star Search and Michael Jackson and all these things just made me say, I can do it too. I don't want to be famous. I don't have to be famous. I just want to be able to love what I do and help children who couldn't afford the classes or who couldn't go, or, as long as I can be the beacon to help people stay passionate, and that's all I want to do.
You are so adorable. I feel like they kind of miss out on her, like, by her not being with them since she graduated. She is like a little fireball.
Thank you.
Well, like you say, it's never too late, so I think we're going to make a reconnection with people.
Yeah, totally. That's.
Yeah, because I think you are, with your organization, are a great resource for Up With People. They let them know that here's students that are upcoming that can be part of their organization later, as well as you can use Up With People as a model for them to be able to do what they're doing, as you're talking about, helping the community, spreading peace and unity in their performances. It's a really neat deal.
And it sounds like we're doing the same thing. We're coming back to Denver to revitalize. Hey, we're here. Don't forget that we're here. Like, I'm a mother of 3, so the travel, as much as I love to travel is my children, their careers are starting, even in sports and arts themselves. So I'm like, I gotta figure something out. I can't be gone once a month. I have to be a mommy now. So that's why I'm like, I gotta get Denver. I gotta wake them up. They can remind me, hey, we're here. Get some bricks so that we can buy our land and build so that we can stay here. I don't wanna keep contracting outside of Denver. Denver's too incredible and such a metropolitan that's growing, and I really, really want to be a part of that economy that's helping revitalize through arts.
And especially the international nonprofits are really starting to thrive here now.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
That's really great. They have a greenhouse project where they're housing all these different nonprofits that are doing international work, especially in Africa, and they're combining resources there. So a lot of neat things happening in that arena. We have a little bit of time left. Tell us, lady, is there any fundraising events that you have coming up in the future?
We are going to be planning a spring gala, a spring fundraiser where we're just going to do a gala, and that's going to be the only official performance we do for 2013 because we want to focus on 100,000 bricks. So that's what we're going to do. We'll do small performances, like our Black History Month. We're always in some schools. We're always doing something. Women's History Month, domestic violence, those special months that just mean something to the whole country. We usually are doing small performances, but we're not going to actually have a season this season because we are restructuring our board. We're going from a 5-member to a 7-member. Again, looking for land and just trying to raise as much awareness that we're back and doing way more collaborations. Next year, we're focused on collaborating with a lot of people. So we don't want to actually host events. We want to be a part of other events to let it be known. We, as you said, nonprofits live off of collaboration. So we want to be involved with as many schools, as many rec centers, as many other organizations. Teaching literacy, math programs, we can teach math through dance because I count, we want to do as much as we can do for the community first, to let the community know we do love them and that we're not here just to get paid for performances. So first, we want to give back to the community before we have an official season. So.
Well, I love your passion. That's fantastic. Yes.
Yeah, I could listen to her all day long.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like you to keep us informed on your upcoming event. We'd like to keep an announcement for you so we can get you some more exposure out there. You're going to have a great cause, and thank you for coming to our show.
Thank you.
Yes. And give your website one more time before we...
It's www.visionspac.org, and it's visions with an S, PAC.org.
Okay, so it's visionspac.org.
Yes.
All right. Well, Dr. Lady Osset Crenshaw, thank you for coming to our show.
Thank you. Feel better. I feel better.
And we want you to have a blessed day, and we will keep in touch and then keep some of these things going and this momentum that you have going.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're going to break for a quick break here, and then we're going to come back with our next guest. Thank you.
My favorite non-profit, where causes are really extraordinary. Together we can make a difference. You and my favorite non-profit who care.
Find out how you can make make a difference at myfavouritenonprofit.com, where causes are really extraordinary.
You ain't my favorite non-profit who care.